Hey everybody, it's low carb and keto nutrition specialist Amy Berger from toitnutrition.com, bringing you, as always, keto without the crazy. Before I get into the topic, just a quick reminder that I will be speaking live in person in Norcross, Georgia, just outside Atlanta, coming up soon, Saturday, February 19th. Tickets are still available. I'll put a link in the notes below. Please join us. It's just a one-day event, casual, low-key, but filled with low-carb and keto goodness from myself, from Dr. Eric Westman, Dr. Ken Berry, his wife Nisha Berry, and our friend and colleague Dr. Jeff McDaniel. It's going to be awesome. I'm giving a brand new talk, except not quite so brand new. The world debut will have been 1 week prior at an event I will be speaking at in Raleigh, North Carolina. But you will be the second group in the world to have seen and heard this talk. Okay. Before I get into the topic, I want to tell you about the playlists that I've created. If you go to, my YouTube channel and there's tabs, you can bring up the playlists tab. And the reason I'm telling you about the playlist is because I just updated everything and I created a new playlist. I might be remembering the title wrong because I did it a couple days ago. It's like Make Keto Simple and Easy, or Make Keto Simpler and Easy, or something like that. And the reason I'm specifically bringing your attention to that one is because it's very relevant to today's topic. I've done so many videos on this, but I know that I have new people coming to the channel all the time, and a lot of you old hands, To It Nutrition channel veterans, thank you for being here. You could also very often use a reminder and a refresher. So, you might want to go through that playlist and make your way through. If you are out there, and whether you're brand new to low carb or keto eating, or you've been at it a while and you're having a really hard time, you're doing keto, you're doing all the right things, and you're spinning your wheels, the weight isn't coming off, your blood sugar's not getting better, your blood pressure's not getting better, all the good stuff that everybody promises is not happening for you. What gives? What's wrong? I'm going to give you the #1 secret to making all that start happening right now. Ready? Are you sitting down? Are you braced for it? Keep your carbs really low. Period. That's it. If you're having a really, really hard time getting the results you want, and assuming you have weight to lose, assuming we're not talking about 2 pounds, we're not talking about your fasting blood sugar is 89 and you think there's something wrong with you. I mean, you're legit far from where you want to be and you think you're doing everything right and nothing's happening. I want you to focus on one thing for now, and that is keeping your carbohydrate intake very low. I want you just for a few weeks to drown out everything else. I want you to pretend, I am begging you to pretend that you don't know anything else about any of this, except that what makes a diet ketogenic, what flips the switch, what helps your body transition from burning mostly carbs and glucose to burning mostly fat and ketones, is a very, very low carbohydrate intake. And the reason it works that way is because in order to burn lots of fat, your insulin level has to be low. And to get your insulin level low, you want to keep your carbs really, really low. Don't worry about your protein. Does protein have an influence on insulin? Yes. Is that something you need to worry about right now? No. So, don't worry about eating too much protein or protein kicking you out of ketosis. You are not allowed to think about that for now. Don't worry about fasting. Don't worry about intermittent fasting. Don't worry about only eating 1 meal a day or only eating 2 meals a day or not eating late at night. Don't worry about putting MCT oil and butter in your coffee. Do not worry about measuring your ketones, whether you are thinking about doing that with blood, breath, or urine. It doesn't matter because you're not doing it at all. No measuring of ketones. Do not measure your blood glucose unless there's one exception, maybe two. The big exception that there definitely is if you have diabetes, either type 2 or type 1, and you use insulin, you should measure your blood sugar because you need to adjust your insulin doses accordingly. Hopefully, your medical team has advised you and educated you in how to do that. I am not providing medical information, you know. If you have diabetes and you take other medication, meaning not injections, but just some other drug, you might also want or need to check your blood sugar in order to manage those doses under your doctor's supervision. Other than that, don't check your blood sugar. What is the one thing I want you to do for the next few weeks? The one thing? What? Remind me again. I can't hear you. Keep your carbohydrate intake really low. And in between keeping your carbs low, you can have a sip of coffee. Now, when I say keep your carbohydrate intake really low, I'm going to give you another little secret. I mean total carbohydrate. Don't mess around. I'm so tempted to use the F word, but I don't want to have to put the explicit marker on my channel. Don't foof around with net carbs. Don't foof around with your keto ice cream that the whole pint only has 4 grams of net carbs. You know what else it has? About 4,000 calories and 800 zillion grams of fat. Just because your carb intake is low doesn't mean you can consume an unlimited amount of fat and still lose weight. I know that might be shocking to some of you. Probably not if you've followed me for a while or not if you've read my book, The Stall Slayer. There's 2 whole chapters on this. What else? Yeah, don't mess around with net carbs. Don't think. Now, here's the thing though. You always hear me say this, those of you that are 2 nutrition veterans. If you're happy with the results you've been getting, then keep doing what you're doing because it's working. If it ain't broke, we don't fix it. I'm talking to those of you who are not happy, those of you who are struggling, those of you who are doing everything that people are telling you to do and you're not getting where you want to go. If these sorts of products, the keto brownies, the keto cookies, they have keto cereal now, keto granola. If these things are a regular part of your diet, they're not anymore. I've been helping that company Adapt Your Life do the Keto Made Simple Masterclass. We just finished round 5. We've had about 3,000 people go through that Keto Made Simple Masterclass, and I will put a link to it below. I think we'll be running it again in April. So you can get on the wait list. It's not open now, but if you get on the wait list, you will be notified as soon as it's open for enrollment again. I would say the 2 biggest things that we see in people, and most people who are doing the course are not new to keto. Most of them have been doing it for a while, but they're in this situation where they're, again, doing keto, not losing the weight, not improving the health, the good stuff they expect to happen isn't happening. The biggest, and not only what we see as admins in the group, but the feedback that we get from the students at the end. Here's the most important thing I learned. Here's the thing that surprised me the most. The feedback that we get is, it's been Dr. Westman's method for 20 years at Duke University to count total carbs, not net. So you don't subtract fiber, you don't subtract sugar alcohols. And if you're not subtracting the net carbs, all of a sudden that keto ice cream isn't quite so keto anymore. That keto cereal is looking like 20 grams of carbs for, a cup, for 30 grams, for like a bowl full, a regular cereal bowl, not the giant bowl that we all love. All of a sudden, you're not only are you not on a ketogenic diet anymore, you're not even on a low carb diet if you're eating that stuff all the time, right? And I wish, I've said this often, I only use the word ketogenic or the, shorthand keto because that's what everybody looks for now. Nobody's searching for low carb diets anymore. Like when I was brand new to this a long time ago, everybody called it low carb. Nobody called it keto. I wish we all would call it low carb again, or just in your own mind, get used to thinking of it as low carb, because that puts the emphasis where it needs to be. Low carb. You don't foof around again with these keto bars and shakes and brownies and cereal and granola and bread and this and the chocolate bars. And it also, calling it low carb also takes the emphasis off the ketones, the macros, the MCT oil, the fasting, all the stuff. It puts the emphasis on the number one most important place where that emphasis should be, and that is on a very, very low carbohydrate intake. I am not saying that all of that other stuff is irrelevant or unimportant or ineffective. I'm just saying that you've probably already been trying all that. You've already been messing around with macros and fasting windows and this and that, and you're drinking the fatty coffee, and you're hitting your fat macro, and you're, I don't know what, you're, limiting protein because it's going to spike insulin, a blah, you're doing all this stuff. And it's failing you at every turn. It is getting you nowhere because you are not paying attention to the single most important thing you need to pay attention to, which is what? A very, very low total carbohydrate intake. We've been 5 rounds of the Keto Made Simple course, and I'm still astounded at the difference people see, the progress they make just by switching from net carbs to total, just by ditching all that stuff, the keto stuff, the manufactured keto fake foods. And all of a sudden, the progress starts happening. And also none of the fat macro, none of the fat loading, oh, there's not enough fat. We don't do that either. But I don't even want you to worry about that so much. Like, if you're struggling, just forget about everything except keeping the carbs low, because you're probably also overwhelmed and you are trying something different every week. This week I'll do fasting. Oh, that didn't work. It's been a whole 5 days and I didn't lose 10 pounds. I guess that doesn't work. I guess I should try this. Oh, it's been 4 minutes and I haven't reversed my diabetes. Let me try something else. No. I want you to do one thing, and I want you to do it consistently for, I don't know, a month. Then think about some other stuff. But I'll put a link directly to that playlist about keeping keto simpler, because it's so much more simple than you think it is. And it's almost astonishing at how things start to move when you make that change. Either going from net carbs to total carbs, or if you count anything, you don't even have to count anything. If you follow the food list that we give people in the Keto Made Simple Masterclass, I'll give you a little insider information here. The exact food list that people get in the Keto Made Simple Masterclass is the phase 1 food list in our book, End Your Carb Confusion. So if you have that book, you already have the list. It's the same as Dr. Westman's famous page 4 food list. There's a link on my website, or there's a link below. In every video, the link is way below in the notes. So it's all the same list. It's written a little differently and it looks different, but the foods that are included on the list and the quantity guidelines, all the same list. So, what was I going to say? Oh, I was saying, astonishing at the changes that happen when people switch from counting total carbs to net carbs, net carbs to total carbs, or you stop counting altogether and you just follow one of those lists. Those lists were written in such a way as to make it unnecessary for you to count anything, including carbs. There's like eyeball guidelines. Eat approximately this much broccoli, eat approximately this much of non-starchy vegetable. So you don't even have to weigh, measure, track, and count. If you follow the list, you're not going to be above the total carbs that we want you to be above. So I have so much more to say about how to make keto work and work well and work without making yourself nuts. I mean, this is keto without the crazy, but that is number one. Like, stop looking for some magical solution that's going to be your silver bullet. Stop looking for the miracle that you haven't found yet. It's right in front of you. You're just giving way too much attention to all the unnecessary bullcrap that does not need to be part of this plan. You're giving way too much headspace and way too much focus to stuff that you do not need to implement to get the results you want. So I'm going to cut off now, but I'm just going to sum up. Come see me in Atlanta. That's number one, February 19th. Other part of summing up. Keep your total carbohydrate intake very low. For now, do that for a while. For now, don't worry about keeping your protein intake limited. In fact, don't ever worry about that. I have a playlist that's protein videos that explains why you do not need to worry about protein on keto. If anything, most of you, women especially, aren't eating enough protein. That's a whole separate issue. Keep your total carbs really low. Don't worry about how much protein you're eating, except to not skimp on it deliberately. Don't add lots and lots of fat and oil to things to hit some totally arbitrary bullcrap fat macro. Don't worry about fasting. Don't worry about how often you're eating, how many times a day you're having a meal or a snack. Don't worry if it's late at night when you're eating. Just keep your total carbs low and see how that goes for a while. See you next time.